Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Vale, Senior Editor over at the Koalition.com, and I'm joined by Editor-in-Chief Richard Bailey Jr.
Yeah, what's up, Adam? What's up, listeners and viewers?
What's up, man, is that we are back with From Season 4, Episode 2. No title because we're recording this way early. People watching some screeners, and they did not provide the title. Why? I have no idea. No idea, but we're keeping secrets, just like the show, and that's what the writers are doing, all the way down to the title. Question marks, but it doesn't matter. It's episode 2. We're all following. We just watched the episode 1. Now we're at episode 2, and this one was good. This one, there was really nothing wrong with the first one. It's setting things in motion. We get it. But man, I'm still, go ahead, put in the comments. I still don't believe that Jim's dead. Even after what we just saw in this, something tells me we're going to get Jim back if it's the doppelganger version, or pulling him from the past, especially from what we see. I don't want to jump too far ahead. I just thinking about it, and it's fresh in my mind. I just want to get that out there. Put that in the comments. Do you really think he's dead? I don't. I think we're going to get a version of him back. Real quick, housekeeping. Thanks again for the likes, the hypes, the subs, the follows, just supporting us. We got a bunch of shows on the channel, and people are checking them all out. Thank you all. Thank everyone. Some little housekeeping so people know while this is out, there's like April 19th on there within that time frame. We also have Marshalls that's on the channel, and then next month, come May, we're gonna have Dutton Ranch. So we're gonna stick with the Yellowstone spinoffs on those, right? So just to let people know, because I always get questions. And then plus we got Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. That's also still going on, right? So just want to get that out there. Again, thanks for everyone for this. But let's get into this episode, because this was very interesting with how they put this whole thing together. Some of it, one of the things that I was telling you before we started recording is that I forgot about how many people are big into the whole conspiracies of the different ideas, and it's like, what's really going on here in Fromville? Is this a government thing, or as we know from what's going on with Jade and Tabitha, are they reincarnated and coming back as the other two that were trying to save the kids, and of course the ritual and that the townspeople did to make that to kill their kids so that way they could live forever. Does it make sense? No, not really. A lot of this stuff doesn't really link up with some of the other stuff that's going on in their town. And how come when other people die, like Kenny's mom, we don't see Kenny's mom come back? It's like dressed up in the old-timey clothes like everyone else, if we were to go based off of what's in the jars. So many conspiracies. Go ahead, put in the comments, what do you think? What's really happening here? Because there's a lot. There's a lot going on. But we start off, Kenny, he goes into the church. He's looking for Sophia, the demon, the Yellow King, now in female form. Once we saw the ending of the last episode, and we see that, okay, now Demon King, the yellow, it's in female form. I was like, oh, he's gonna pick each one of them off. Like, this could be we haven't heard anything about a season 5. It's really early, obviously. Season 4 is so gone. But hey, this could be a way to end the show. This thing just starts killing each one of them off. That's what I was getting. So Kenny comes, and I'll get you to jump in, Rich, real quick. But just set this up. So Kenny comes in, he finds her, she goes outside, and it's like, oh, and he's like, oh, you see all the creatures out there. Again, those are the same ones we've been seeing. We're not seeing any of the new people that have died that were part of the group turn in, or at least start wearing the clothes of the deceased, if that's what people are saying. It's like, oh, they're just reincarnated, they're coming back, and it's like a recycling type of situation. Like even with Fatima giving birth to the one that they had killed, one of those. But he brings her back and says, you can't go out there, it's dangerous, and it's a whole thing. What did you think of that? The whole thing with Sophia at that moment, just to link, do you think the plan is to kill each one of them off, or is it just to mess with them and put them in bad situations?
Well, no, I think it's very clear what her plan, him, whatever their plan is, because they said in the season premiere Now this is the time where everybody's going to they're going to drive themselves crazy and turn against each other. So I think slowly but surely she's going to try to turn other people against each other, make them continue to fight, and we'll get into it later. We already saw towards the end of this episode there's conflict with other characters because people are getting tired. They're trying to find a way out. So I think you're going to start to see more of this. She's going to be in the ears of some of these other characters on the show. That's what my guess is.
And she says the main reason why Sophia ran out there is because her father's dead. And she's like, he's dead. Mirel finds out, like, what? Let me go over there. And I was waiting to hear, like, clear, trying to with the shocks. No, none of that. We just take it for what it is, and that's it. He really is dead. I'm surprised, but then I guess, I just thought there was going to be a big twist or something. Remember what we saw when she was smothering him? And then it would have been great if she went. It was like, no, he's all right. I got him back. It was like, what? But no, it sounds like he's dead. So we jump over to Boyd. You see, Elgin's all messed up, man. This dude with the eye, the arm, as we know, he took a whooping. Boyd gave him a whooping. And he just lays down the law. He's like, you know what? You know what you're going to tell the people, Elgin? A whole lot of nothing. That's what you're going to tell them. Because you're going to say you were trying to help out. And if you don't, I'm going to say that you killed I blinked on her name. You guys know who I'm talking about. But basically, and also all the stuff with Fatima. Come on now. Like, fine, you can tell Elgin to keep that secret. But what if how could she keep the secret? She's the one that got kidnapped by him. And that's a whole other thing, too. But he was brainwashed. We saw the same thing happen in season 1 with Sarah, right? With the brother and Ethan and that whole thing, right? Oh, they said if I took care of this and killed this boy, we'll get out of here. And it's like that never works. And the same thing with the kimono woman telling Elgin, don't worry, you do this, and we're squared. We're good. You're all gonna leave. But he says he doesn't know if he's gonna keep that secret. Like, well, it's in your best interest to keep that. Right? We get Acosta. She is sleeping at the diner and the table. That seems one cold, lonely, sad, bunch of things. I said one, there's like 3 or 4. It's wrong. She shouldn't be doing that. I saw some people, again, I was trolling in the Reddits, people. You guys are very interesting. And other people asked, like, why is she still wearing her cop uniform? She's not a cop anymore. She should just wear some other clothes. And I think it's that connection of who she is. That's her identity. She was law enforcement. She sees that this place, again, like we said in the last episode, if you watch, Boyd, and you probably already, if you even don't watch it, then you know, Boyd hasn't really come clean about his past, his military past, his history of who he is from the outside world to Acosta. So she really, he's playing sheriff here, but she doesn't believe in him. And that comes up again in this episode. She doesn't buy into that. So anyway, the radio is a wake up time, and everybody gets up, and we get a little montage. Everybody getting up. Fatima and Alice getting up. Boyd over there shaving. It's a brand new day. He goes outside. Oh, it looks beautiful. Wait, what's that in the distance? Takes his binoculars out. What's in the bag? Oh man, what did you think was in the bag, Rich?
Oh, well, it definitely couldn't have been anything good, because I know he was very startled when he saw that. I figured, it had to be some type of dead body or something.
I think we all knew. I mean, we don't all know, but we all assumed that this was it. This was Jim. Jim's in the bag, right? This is a special delivery from the ghouls. It's like, hey, we got something. And it was heartbreaking. So he goes out there, and then of course instantly everybody, Tabitha comes out. Oh no, she's freaking out. Ethan, wonderful scene. I love some of these scenes, the cinematography work, because there's this wide angle shot, and you see Ethan full steam and running, and he like jumps, and Boyd just catches him in the air. Like he was gonna like jump past him. He's gonna pull a Jerry Rice for the 49ers, a throwback. If you know what then you know. When he goes to catch one of those and jumps, and he looked like he was gonna jump past Boyd, and he just catches him. No, you can't go. Everyone's freaking out, right? Julie's freaking out. There's still the whole thing with Julie. Doppelganger, what's going on? We know one has a scratch, other one doesn't have a scratch. The one that's with Ethan seems to be clueless with everything, but then we know the other one that was with Jim at the time was aware. I don't know. That doesn't really come up again in this episode. Some things link up. It looks like this is the same Julie that was with Randall, but that was the same one that was with Jim. You know what I mean? It's not the one that was in the diner with Ethan. Questions. If you have answers, put it in the comments. Right. So they're trying to figure this out. What's going on? What's in the bag? And they were like, all right, you know what? Let's see. All right, let's take it down. They take it down, and Tabitha wants to be the one to open up. So she's already guessing, assuming this is Jim. We all are, and they built up the suspense. I feel like this scene went on forever. Just waiting, right? They're showing, you see Jade, everybody like, oh man, all the other randos in the town just like, oh, here we go. Opens it up, and what was it? It was like a goat, right? You said we saw horns or something. Like you said, it was like a mask. I mean, we paused it. Wasn't too sure what that was.
Yeah, it could have been an animal, but obviously it was a red herring for what actually was revealed shortly thereafter. Yeah,
definitely. Because right before she opens up, she tells Julie to take Ethan to the barn. Why the barn? Why not back in the house? What's in the barn? You know what I mean? It's like the barn. I think of Kenny's mom dying. I think of nothing but horrible things happening in this barn. I don't think about, go bring my son over there and what pet some animals. From what we know, all the animals are dead. Remember, wasn't that a thing last season? The crops were dying, the food, everything. They were having issues. And that's when Fatima was eating the rotten food and getting all crazy with stuff. Right. But she's like, oh, what is this? She doesn't. Okay, wait, it's not. And then we hear just a loud scream. And we know this isn't good. Whenever you hear anything like that. Right, they all go running to the barn, and that's when we see that Julie and Ethan, they're freaked out. They see their dad hanging from the rafters in the barn. Horrible, like you said. That's now we know, like these creatures, they're playing mind games. This is all about mind games now. Now it's like, what is the point? If it's just to take over their body and then to continue the cycle, why? Well, like there's a reason that these people are here, right? That's the whole point, right? They're from different parts of life, but they're all connected in some way to the people in this town or to the story or how they're all there for a reason. At least majority of them are, right? The key ones. And so to see this, and then he's dead, they start freaking out, and then we see, what was that on the wall? It was like go ahead.
I was going to say, we know why, because knowledge comes at a cost.
Knowledge comes at a cost. They did that not in blood, but it looked like paint later on. Yep. And I right, because at first I was like, that's a weird looking type of blood. So not only do these creatures, are they good at sneaking around and lifting up and bagging and playing tricks, but they're really good at just like going to the Home Depot or Lowe's and just getting a nice can of paint and just. I'm just saying it because that's it would have been a little more, it made more sense if it wasn't, just like all gruesome, like, or just like in Sticks, Blair Witch style, like, just get up. I don't know. And when I see something like that all spelled out, it's like, all right, well, when I guess they also speak English, right? That's the thing. Like we know they speak English, but then they write it. I don't know, little things that I start thinking about that really doesn't even matter to the show, but this is what flows in my head. Right. So then we jump back with Sophia and Kenny. Right. Sophia is freaked out by what's happening here. She's like, what's going on? Oh, well, this is what's happening here. But she needs new glasses. Right. That's one of the other things. Oh, I need some new stuff. He says, don't worry. We got a storage room. It's going to have all kinds of goodies. It's going to be great. We'll find whatever you need and just get you out of here. And it's like, yeah, things aren't great, but it's all right. Okay. I mean, I think also we find magical things in this story, right? That was one of the things that Kenny's mom had mentioned, almost implying like things magically appear. It's not so much that they were left there, but it's just like the food. Remember when she said she would come in and certain things were just there for them to make, like cans of goods and stuff like that. I don't know. Or like, I think they said even the cattle that was around. We didn't really see too much of the cattle, but that, they just pop up here and it's just supplied. I mean, we already know the electricity that's funneled in. It's not even through solar panels. It's just magic, magic. Same thing with the water. There's no pipes. There's no nothing. So, says, all right, well, we're going to go over to the diner. And then that's where the whole thing is. But as they're going over there, they see Sarah. Sarah tells Kenny about the situation. Hey, Jim has died. He feels he has to go there. Sarah says, hey, where are we going to take this girl? Sophia, oh, you're going to take it. I can do that. I don't know about you. I thought this is when Sarah dies. Did you get any of those vibes?
No, not quite yet. I know you mentioned earlier, we know that what Sarah went through in the first season. I do think they were very intentional for her to have that interaction with Sophia because we know who Sophia really is. So I would like to see if they're going to play around with her getting in her head as the season goes on, because I can see that happening, but we just have to wait and see. Or maybe she is the one that discovers who Sophia really is, because there is somebody that at some point is going to discover that. I just don't know who that is right now.
Either that or the man in yellow changes form.
Yeah.
Because even with this girl, what if if someone finds a picture, I could see that. Or if Victor, who's been there forever, okay, sees Sophia for the first time and he's like, oh, I know this girl. She died here many years ago. That can't be her. And, spoil. Oh, and then that's when he like, oh, he starts mutating it. And ta-da, it's the man in yellow. Got me, and then goes running off in the woods naked because he has his clothes all ripped up. And he left the other stuff in the box. Right. So, yeah. So anyway, we also get a quick Tabitha with the kids at the house. Ethan just going nuts. Understandable. He's flipping out. He loves his dad, whole thing. And he blames his mom, right? They were fighting all the time. Dad was trying to fix the marriage, as we've seen before. And then with Tabitha leaving the way she did and then coming back and not really coming clean and frustrating us to the point that we decided to do this on this channel. Because at that people, you don't know. We had words. We were so heated with the way she came back and had that meeting in the diner and not really coming clean, like talking in riddles. When they were like, oh, what did you see? What did you? Everything was... It was the same. I mean, this is too much. It's like, what? Just spew it. He's like, oh, I talked to my mom. I used a cell phone. I saw other people. You know what I mean? It's like, just rattle stuff off. Just like a normal person, basically. And that didn't happen. So that frustrated me. That frustrated us. So anyway, Ethan's flipping out, going through the whole thing. And then Chief's like, all right, so she's whatever. This is it, right? I mean, you just got to let him deal with all this stuff. Now, we get a quick scene where with Boyd and Jade starts talking about the whole thing. Boyd talks about the message that was left. He's like, great, now they're leaving messages. Okay, that's my bad. That's with Tabitha and I. We were doing some stuff out there. We're looking things up. I think this is our fault. And he explained everything that we already know. The whole thing about what was going on. We'll try to make sense of it with the kids and. With the what was it where they were saying remember in their other language, Akoi, I think that's what it was, Akoi, but it turns out it's like remember. So these kids were trying to communicate, and he says they're getting closer, and every time they get closer, this happens, something bad happens. So it's like, all right, well, you got to figure this out. Boys, like, keep pushing. You got to figure it out. What do you think? I think he's right. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, if you obviously they're on the right track. If not, then you're really living up to what Acosta, and we get to that later on in this episode, Chrissy, then you're really not doing nothing. Since Jade after he snapped out of that, remember where he was in denial, he's really been gung-ho on trying to figure out how they're there, why they're there. Remember trying to do the antenna on top of Colony House and he's doing everything he can to really get them out there. He is the professor. If this is Gilligan's Island, right? He's the one turning a coconut into a radio. This is the dude trying to get everybody out. So what do you think? You think he's going to figure this out? You think it's smart for Boyd to just tell him, you know what, just keep going full steam ahead with this?
Yeah, I think he needs to continue doing what he's doing. You have Ethan is also doing what he's doing. There are multiple characters that I think they want to get an answer. Whether or not they work together successfully, that's another story. But yeah, he should definitely continue trying to seek out what's really going on. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think that Tabitha will work with him also as she was before. Sure.
Yeah, hopefully. I think even more so now after what we saw with what happened with Ethan. Yeah. We get Sarah. She shows up with Sophia and at the diner. You see Acosta just sitting there. So I was like, hey, how you doing? Don't talk to me like we're friends. All right. And she walked away. I was like, damn, so fix your face. I'm just trying to say hi. Not even, you don't have to be friends. There's plenty of people I don't like at certain places, and I just be cordial, right? Like, hey, how you doing? Oh, not all right. Middle finger for you. I'm out. Just saying what's up. But no, she doesn't want to hear it, right? And they go anyway. They go into the room. They start looking around. And I brought this up when we were watching this because Sophia was like, oh, wow, look, this is big. How do these look? Sarah should be asking the real question. How do you see? Can you read the sign on the wall? Who cares about the frame? It's like, we'll figure that out afterwards. It's all about how you could see. And every time I see something like this especially this show, I think of Sawyer. If you guys watch Lost, it's the same creators. But remember, there was a moment within, I think it was like season 1. I think it was still season 1 when Sawyer was trying to read and he was straining his eyes, and they were like, hey, maybe you need glasses. And so then he went and he started looking through, and then he's looking through everybody's glasses, and he found a pair of glasses. And that's what the vibe I got from this. I felt like this was a callback to that scene, because that was a big part of the whole thing. And then next, he's walking around, not like this though. That Sophia doesn't need the glasses, obviously, as we know, because then once they walk out of the room, she's like looking up, like, oh, well, I guess this is a gimmick. I gotta wear this for the rest of this. But even then, I thought, oh, she's gonna kill Sarah in the storage room, because remember there was also Acosta left. I was like, oh, this is it. She dies, but no, that doesn't happen. We give over, right? I mean, did you think anything was going to happen in this scene? I feel like every time I see Sophia alone, with any of these characters, they're going to die. I don't.
Oh no, I think that is intentional. They definitely want you to be on the edge of your seat, wondering if that's going to happen. Now, it probably is going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, and I don't know if it's going to be Sarah, the one that is the next victim. But yeah, there is going to be another victim before this season is over. I think that 100% is
going to be plenty of victims. Are you kidding me? But this show has been on track with killing a main character, like last season, Kenny's mom. That was brutal.
Yeah,
that barn scene, and it's like, oh, you're gonna watch this. It's like, oh man, and then now, of course, with Jim, I'm still in denial about the Jim, and I'll get into more of my theories on that toward the end. We get Julie and Ethan. Now, Ethan looks like he's calmed down, fake sleeping. Julie leaves him in the room. She's got other plans. Donna, who already had said she was going to check on the kids, and she goes over to the house. She's Tabitha's already gone, as we know. She went over to go scrub the barn clean. So Julie is there and says, hey, my brother's upstairs sleeping. Can you just watch him? I need to go take a walk by myself. Not safe. Oh, it's daytime. Mm-hmm. What can go wrong? Again, key part right there, people, because she is definitely not the Julie that saw Jim, because that was also during the daytime. Mm-hmm. And with that whole thing. So there's two versions. Where is the other Julie? You know what I mean? Where is the other Julie? And it's confusing, because the following scene after this, where Julie meets up with Randall and he's lifting, he's doing pull-ups, and she says, all right, we need to go back to where the ruins are. Remember that stuff on the ground? She stepped over and then she entered another realm type of thing. Needs to go there because that's where she wants to get her dad. So she knows about the possibility of either going back in time or grabbing two people or someone else that's their doppelganger. I'm just confused by this. Rich, what's going on? Because if we talked about it, we know that in that last scene in the last episode of season 3, when Randall and Julie get into the whole scuffle in the car and she takes off, that's when she ends up in the woods, right? And she sees her dad in the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But the one Julie that we see with Ethan in the diner, we're assuming that that's the one that's still with Ethan, with all of them. But that's the one that we just saw leave the house to go with Randall and says, hey, let's go back to the ruin spot. Well, that was the Julie that was in the car with Randall. So I'm you know what I mean? It's like it's which is what? I don't know. I'm confused. People, if you know, then help, please, because this is the part. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the future Julie, that was the Julie that came back because she knew what was going to happen and she was going to try to stop Jim from getting taken out. Yeah, we haven't seen that one since the first episode in the finale last year. So,
my God, Rich, you did it.
Yeah. What's
you
that?
You did it.
Yeah.
What we saw was the future of Jim dying.
Yeah.
What if that's it? What if Julie does get to go back? She finally, as we know, we'll get to that part where she tried and then Randall pulls out. But what if she goes back in and is able to complete the path, get through, chase after wherever, and find that scene where we see her seeing Jim and the man in yellow, and then definitely interfere. If she does, that changes everything. That
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? That changes all of this. Could that be? And then that means that everything that we saw in episode 1 and 2, or who knows how many episodes it's going to take before that happens, gets wiped. Almost like a Back to the Future type of thing. She changed the time. Is that possible?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. I think they have a lot of different ideas that they are throwing around, because, like I say, when the scene in this episode, when she went, that was clearly the past. When she went through and it was nighttime, that was the past. So that's why I say, I guess there are different times where it can be the past or the future. They have to explain that, because I don't really understand any of that stuff. But I will say there is a possibility that she can be successful, but I what we saw in that finale last year was she was unsuccessful in stopping Jim from getting taken out.
Yeah.
So because the guy had made the comment and said, yeah, this is where it happens. And then that's how you saw when you saw what happened to him. So I think it happens almost in every situation, but there could be one instance where that doesn't happen.
Yeah, she makes a change. Maybe she has a weapon, she throws something, or maybe she catches him before he even approaches the RV.
Yeah.
No, because she said, she's like, I'm going to save my dad. I'm going to take him out. I'm going to figure this out. You know, she says it to Randall, and, you know, he's all for it. He was like, he likes her. Remember, that was the whole thing. He was making the moves on her. Right. So we jump over to Tabitha. She's back at the barn. She's scrubbing the walls there, the wall, trying to take the message off. Jade comes in. He says, hey, this is our fault, but you know what? We can do this. We're going to keep going. She's like, you have nothing to lose. You're nobody. You only care about yourself. You know, because he's made this whole even comment too. It's like, oh, think of your kids. Like, yeah, she is thinking of her kids. I understand they had the conversation, Jade and Boyd go all for it. Yes, that makes perfect sense. But right now, her kids, especially with the way Ethan was acting, this is a traumatic experience, losing a parent. So she should be focusing on the kids, and maybe not so much on even scrubbing the barn. Stop hanging out at the barn. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you do in the barn? Do you have dances at the barn? Do you play bingo? You do nothing in the barn. You don't even have cattle. So what's the point of even scrubbing this message off? I'm sure it's all mental and it's the whole thing because of the body. But you know what? I wouldn't even hang out there. I wouldn't even bother.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I get why they put that scene there. And it's like, okay, well, she's telling him off. And he's like, well, we have to do this. You know, we have to. We were on the right track. And she's like, no, I'm done. Well, okay, fine. But you know who's not done? Acosta's not done. She's been hanging out the diner. She's bummed. She's stressed. And she's like, you know what? This is it. She sneaks out. She goes, which is funny that she's sneaking, you know, when he's crouching around. I was like, really? I don't think anyone cares. They just don't think that you're going to steal the ambulance. I don't know if anyone would have cared if they saw her walking by it, but whatever. She goes in, goes to take the ambulance. We got now Donna. And this is why this is key here. I don't remember the house being so close to the diner. I know they were in town. There's Colony House and there's town. And I know that the first house crumbled because remember the whole thing and they had to get Jim out and all that stuff. So maybe where they're staying is close, but the reason why I bring that up is because once she gets in, Acosta gets in the car, and then Muriel is screaming and the whole thing, and then Chrissy gets in. Where you're going, I'm going. We see Donna running out. Remember? Donna's like, what's happening? So that means that she was that close. And we also saw that Ethan then, you know, took it upon himself. He grabbed his backpack. I thought he was running away. We didn't see him put mics up, but he had his backpack and then he heads out the door. Well, I guess the back door. But it's funny because later on when she was like, when Donna tells Tabitha, I was here the whole time. No, you weren't, lady. Did you forget you went running out when the whole ambulance thing happened? I guess not. You know, but hey. It is what it is, right? What else? We got Kenny real quick with Boyd. Boyd fills him in on the whole theory that Jade has. He's like, you think that's really gonna work? You think that's happening? He was like, yeah, probably. This whole thing sounds crazy, but everything else is crazy around here. So anything is possible. So yeah, then I already went through with the glasses. They picked up the glasses. That was weird. I'm waiting. I think that could also spoil a little bit if with the whole disguise. If let's say at some point she takes the glasses off and she could read something, or she's reading the Bible, or something like that. And I was like, oh, I thought you need your glasses, and she could just for distance. So you got to come up with something. I don't know. I just feel like it's going to come up, because then what's the point of the glasses? You don't need it. I mean, it's like, what? Even if let's say I get it, they were broken, or whatever, but why even have them? You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. I was like, there's no point for it unless it's going to play a part later on. All right. So we get Acosta and Christy in the car, in the ambulance, and Acosta's like, I can't give up. I can't give up. I got to get out of here. I don't, and we've seen this multiple times, right? We saw this even season 1 with Jim, and they get in the car, loop. We've seen it with the bus. Remember the whole thing? What happened to the bus lady, the bus driver? Remember, she was like the cook in the diner for a while after Kenny's mom, and then now no one hangs out in the diner. No one eats. That place was always jumping.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Think about that. Now,
that's a good point. Nobody.
No one's there. It's morning time. Remember before it was breakfast? Everybody went for pancakes and stuff. Now it's just Acosta, and she's got the place to herself. It's questions. Weird. Got questions, people. I don't have answers. I need these answers. But Acosta talking about all this stuff. She doesn't believe it, and it makes sense because she hasn't been there that long. And most of these people have been there years. At this point, Chrissy's been there 3 years, I want to say. Maybe I think it was season 2 around there that she came in, right? Because she was part of she was already she was already.
She was,
that's right.
She was there from season 1.
She's it's the haircut. The haircut keeps throwing me off. I don't like this haircut.
Yeah.
But she's been there. She was always there, right? It was her girlfriend that showed up on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but she's been there a long time, and that's what she tries to explain. She's like, I've seen this, and believe me, it sucks. I get it, but we're stuck here. It's not that Boyd is avoiding anything. It's like, this is just how things are. But anyway, they're driving up. She's like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get us out of here. Let's go driving. So they're driving. All right, so then we get with Randall and Julie. They're over at the spot. This is it. She was like, hey, listen, I'm gonna walk in there. Wait, how about this? Let's run a test. Randall, take a walk over there. Why? Just take a look. And he does it. It's not like that he's walking into the tree that Victor used to do. That's a little spooky. That's kind of weird. What happened to that too? Remember that with the tree where Victor would go into the tree and then pop out and stuff? Did that tree move? I don't think it moved. Because that was the thing. The trees were moving and stuff, and he was talking about that, but that was a whole other thing. I'm telling you, this is, again, is so much like Lost, where there's certain directions that the show is going, and you're like, oh, this is the path, and then it just like, gotcha, and they just go and make a right or a left turn, and like now you're in a completely different direction. What's happening? So he walks over, nothing happens. He comes back. She's like, okay, just double checking. Now listen, when I go, it's going to be different. You're going to see some craziness. Do nothing. All right. Promise me. He was like, yeah, I promise. And I even wrote this down. I'm like, that promise is going to be broken. Why? No. There's no way. If something bad is happening, he's going to intervene. Right. So, so then we get with Tabitha. She goes to visit Jim's body. Right. She starts crying and getting sad. She says in one breath, all in the same breath, actually. She says, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do without you, but I'll be fine. Me and the kids will be good. Don't worry. What is it, lady? What is it? Are we running short on time? Is that what's going on here? There should have been more of a pause, dramatic pause, to put your head down, like, oh, you know what? You're right. You know what? I'm a strong person. You've always said it. I could do that. Just add some more to, but it's just all in one breath. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do without you, but I'm going to be fine. Me and the kids will be good. Everything's going to be great. She's sad, but hey, this is it. I still don't believe that he's gone. I'm still not. And no one's talking about what was in that bag. We still don't really know what kind of creature was in that bag. I'm just thinking it's a goat. I'm just going to go with it. Right. So we jump back to the ambulance. It's speeding around. It's racing. she starts talking crazy. Acosta saying, I'm a good person. I don't know about you people. I don't belong in hell. If this is hell, I don't belong here. And Boyd is in the road. He's like waving, stop. She's like, get the F out of the world. And she hits him. Boyd dies. He was like, oh no. And then every time she goes by, she runs over Kenny. She runs over Donna. She's just running over everybody. You said you weren't going to hell. It's too late now. I did it. No, it doesn't happen. But he jumps out of the road. But then he tells, Kenny is like, this is it. Just get the road stripped. And we've seen that with the spikes. This is what they did before for other cars. Just when they keep looping, it's like, this is out of control. You got we get a scene with Victor. Victor's dad looking for him, and he finds him, just like in fetal in a corner somewhere. And he's sad, and he's like, oh, this is it. It's all my fault. This is happening. And well, not my fault, but like he feels like this is going to happen to his dad. What happened to Jim dying? He's like, now you're gonna die. I get it. He's been here so long, and he's seen so many deaths that it's just messing him up. And he's telling him, Dad, you should have never been here. You should have never shown up. He's like, no, I'm here for you. And it's like, he should have said the truth. Like, the truth, I don't know why I'm here. The creatures have put that tree in the road, and they made it so that I'm here. And it's not by chance. There's a reason for it. And maybe Victor's right. Maybe it is to get into his head. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that entire scene is a foreshadowing. And I do think that either Victor or his dad, they will not make it out of this season, because clearly he says that he thinks it's his fault. He doesn't want his dad to be there. And of course, the dad is like, no, he wanted to be there to support his son, So that, unfortunately, is one of those characters is going to get taken out. I think that is that's my guess, because how close they emphasized that relationship a lot going into with what happened last season and then going into this season. So to really make it heartbreaking, I feel like, one of them is going to get taken out, and I'm going to guess it's going to probably be the father. Probably going to be the father.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of getting taken out, is it Julie's time? This is it. Julie steps in. She goes through the ruins. Now she's in the dark area. This is almost like the Upside Down, if we want to link with Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because she goes in there, and what do we instantly start hearing? Creatures, right? We instantly start hearing it. It's like, oh, and that's when we see the Jim and the Boyd, and this was past. This already happened to them, running and the shooting. She's like, oh, Dad. Then the creature jumps on her, starts attacking her. She's fighting. And we could see from the outside Randall watching, and we just see her like shaking on the ground. Right? She's shaking and doing the whole thing. And she said, stay back. But then when it cuts back, you hear her screaming, Randall, help me, Randall. I'm like, hey, you said no matter what happens. Well, it reminds you of Kung Pao. Did you ever see Kung Pao? I don't know if you saw it. Was that one where with the cow that was spitting the milk, and the guy did the Matrix, and it was like it was one scene real quick where the guy says, all right, I can take a good shot. I'm gonna take a beating, so just keep hitting me until I give you the sign, and don't stop until I give you the sign. Well, they start beating him to the point that he can't respond, and they just keep wailing on him. I was like, did he give us the sign? Not yet. I guess we keep going. And he just keep beating on him. And that's what I got to hear. It's like she's shaking and doing the whole thing. And I'm sure Randall's like thinking, well, she said if no matter what I see, to do nothing. So what did you think was going to happen?
Well, like you said, we knew that she definitely was going to need some help. It's kind of like when we talk about and we watch The Walking Dead, you see the creature, the zombie, whatever, the character is struggling because they're holding them down. Or I looked at this creature, and I'm like, is that creature really more powerful than her? Because I would have that woman looked a little bit older. I would have just moved her to the side and tried to get out of there. But one thing that I am curious about, because you said you look like her time was up. What would have happened if the creature would have slit her throat, and then they go back to the present? Is she still going to be alive, or is she going to be dead? Because that's what I thought they were going to see. Like maybe if the creature scratched her or something, and then she goes back, and then you see, now she has a scratch. That's what I was waiting to see if they were going to show that, because I didn't really think that she was in any real trouble.
I think this was it too of Julie, because we'll just get into it. There was another real quick little jump out of here, but he pulls Randall eventually, just like, this is getting out of control because she's really just convulsing right now, and he grabs her, drags her out, and then she starts crying and the whole thing. I think that's it. We should have probably paused and took a look to see if we do see the scratch on the face, to see
I
if
didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything. Yeah. So I mean, I quick glance, I didn't see anything, but then that would have made that connection if that was it. But she did see her dad, and she's on the right track. If she can go back in there, we know Randall can't jump in there with her she did that test. So this is just a solo thing that she has this connection that she can do this. But if she has any plans of getting her dad out or just jumping into the past to alter the time loop, it's going to be at that point. Or who knows, maybe Tabitha can do the same thing. I think she does have that power as well. We've seen her before do some things like that. But speaking of Tabitha, she gets home. She takes a look. She was like, all right, let me go check on my son. Everybody likes to leave this kid alone, no matter what happens. I mean, we've seen him wander off multiple times, okay? It's just worse than the Home Alone series. It's like, oh, boy, this kid's always disappearing. She goes in there. He's not there. She goes downstairs. Donna, he's not there. I was here the whole time. He was upstairs. Lies, Donna. Lies on two fronts. One, you never went upstairs to check. Okay. Julie just said he was up there. What if Julie was fibbing? Then what? You know what I mean? And it's like, there's that. And then two, she completely forgot that she walked outside and went screaming into the street with the whole ambulance situation, so whatever. So speaking of ambulance, right, we jump over and we have Acosta, right? She's in the car. She's screaming. She's talking all this craziness to Christy about Boyd. You can't follow him. He's horrible. He's not going to do anything. We're not going to get out of here. Had to get this audio response from Christy.
I fucking understand that.
Yeah, there is no way, right? This is the really real world. There is no coming back. Shout out to the Crow. Remember that? And it's like, this is it. We're stuck here. This is just suck it up, lady. It's not happening. Right, while she's yapping and saying all this stuff, they notice it. They say, wait a minute, we see a hitchhiker. Who's that? Oh, that's Ethan on the side of the road. And he just like jumps off to the side, which is kind of weird. And at one point we had, remember, Acosta saying how she's a good person, right? She doesn't belong in hell and the whole thing. Chris is like, all right, there's a little boy on the road by himself, just lost his dad, pull over. No, I'm not doing that. Now, you see, if you didn't belong in hell before, you do now. Because you're leaving this kid to walk the streets alone come on now, you crazy. I thought at this point they were going to get into a struggle over the steering wheel and then crash. That's what I thought was going to happen. All right, but no, they make it back into town. She sees the strip. She swerves to the side. A little bit too late, doesn't matter. She hits the spike, and then Boyd he unleashes on her. He like starts cursing at her, screaming, opens the door, drags her out. I mean, we've all watched Cops. We know how this goes, right? Bad boy, what you want? He slammed. That's what I was playing. If I could, I'd just take that cut and just boom, play the song. Bangs her up on the side. He handcuffs her, and Chrissy's like, yo, take it easy. Really? Well, now after the whole speech you just gave her in the ambulance, now you're like, oh boy, take it easy. No. And you know what's funny too? Acosta zipped, doesn't say a single word this whole time. What is it? I think she snapped. I think that's what's going on here. I think she officially snapped. She's lost it, doesn't know what to say. Because remember, she's been looping around. She's been driving, taking all the paths, and we know that freaks everybody out. Right, when they go into this town, that they can't leave, and at this point Christy was like, hey, by the way, I just saw Ethan up on the road, he's just walking out there alone. They're like, what? Right, so then everybody goes running over there. I don't remember, I didn't write it down, but was Tabitha there? I guess she was.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so she showed up there, right? That's right, because she was with Donna, who swore she was watching Ethan. Right? Oh, really? Then where is he? Did my son just pull a Chris Angel? Come on, explain it, lady. All right, it's my fault. I wasn't really good. I'm not a good babysitter. So Ethan, we see he's at the RV, and then now we see why He's here to pick up the radio. At first, I thought that was an Xbox, a 360. I'm like, oh, I was like, yo, I'm looking. I'm like, yo, this kid. He's like, you know what? If I'm stuck here, I might as well play games. I was like, I'd never seen. And then I'm thinking, I haven't even seen a TV in any of these houses. So, but whatever. It wasn't that. It was the radio. Right. So he grabs this radio. He goes outside and then he sees Jim. And this is heartbreaking, right? He sees Jim. He hugs his dad. And they have a heart to heart, and Jim pretty much just tells him, like, you know, all the things I told you about being strong and stuff. It's mom and sister, they're gonna need you now, you know, and I'm gonna have to leave. And it's like, oh, I can't believe that. I came here for the radio, so we could talk to Thomas, so you could talk to Thomas, the real Thomas, not the demon Thomas. You know, it was kind of funny that he said that. And as much as I'm trying to connect with this scene. And as a father and seeing this, I'm like, oh, yeah, I get it. But then I'm like, really? You're going to go back to the RV for this radio to talk to the dead brother? And then I guess maybe, but you already just said it right here that the Thomas that your dad was talking to wasn't the real one. So who did you think you were going to talk to? You know, it's a 50-50 chance, I guess, that he was going to connect to his real dad and not the creature saying, hey, how about this? We're going to hang out when? I don't know, around 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Listen, walk into the woods, come back to the RV, and then we're gonna hang out and go fishing or something. Okay, yeah, that sounds good, Dad. My dad would never steer me wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, it wasn't your dad. You know, but he's telling him this whole thing, and he was like, okay. Right when they're getting into this whole conversation, we hear Tabitha in the background screaming, Ethan. He looks over, doesn't say anything, looks back, dad is gone. Tabitha comes over and she says, hey, I just saw dad. And she hugs him, and that's it. Roll credits. And then we all cried. Rich and I, we cried at least for like 25 minutes. And then we're like, you ready to record? And he was like, no. We took another 25 minutes.
No, we didn't take that long. No.
Right, we were so sad. We were distraught. This was very sad. All right. So what's your thoughts, man? What's going on in Fromville? What's happening?
There are two things I want to say about this scene. First and foremost, you made the comment earlier about being afraid that Sarah was going to get taken out by Sophia. I thought to myself, when I saw Jim again, I thought to myself, hey, what if that is the man in yellow, that he's now come back, he's turned into Jim, and he was about to take out Ethan? I think if they ended the episode like that, I mean, that would have been quite very, 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 very shocking for people to see. But again, like you said, he had the heart-to-heart with him, the conversation basically saying, yes, I need you to be strong now to take care of them. And that conversation, because he said that is exactly why I don't think that Jim is coming back. Now, what they will do is he'll probably show up again as a ghost, talking to maybe his son or some other characters, or you'll see him in the past. But I think the character is dead, and I personally don't have an issue with that because a lot of other people on this show did die. Like you mentioned earlier, Kenny's mom died. That character isn't coming back. And then the
priest, remember the priest that died?
The priest,
only exactly. Boyd sees, you know.
And yes, but he did come back as a ghost that Boyd, like you said, Boyd sees. And then Boyd, even his wife died. So what I'm saying is, I think it would be a disservice to have this character come back, because it's going to be like, I understand he's an OG character, but in order for it to be consistent, the character probably should stay dead. But again, because they're playing around with this time stuff, I do want to see where they're going with that, but I think he has to be dead. There's no way. Of course,
to be dead.
Yeah, I mean, he can still see him in the past, have a conversation with him, but I think for it to mean something, he has to be dead, and it actually will motivate the other characters to find out why and how to get revenge.
Okay, all right. Well, all right, and people, real quick, is that we're at the end. We already did our recap and our breakdown, but this is our thoughts right now. So if you just want to cut out from that, thank you. But if you want to stick around, it's a little longer. But thanks again for the likes, the hypes, the subs. Just want to get that out there, because a lot of you out there, and you're spending time with us. You don't have to. There's plenty of other AI channels out here just go spew everything out there for you, and then ask for you to like and sub and all that. But anyway, just to get this in. So I think he is going to come back. I can see the ghost situation. I brought this up before, like Dexter and Harry, the dad popping up, and Harry being Ethan's Harry. That's it. Ethan sees him eating Cheerios or whatever. Or he's eating, he's like, I don't like the Cheerios. And then he pops up and he's like, your mom just made the breakfast. You go, okay, Dad. Like, who are you talking to? Dad. Well, oh, that's right. Only you could see him. I could see something like that happening. But I think that for the reason that they have Julie doing that, going into the ruins, going into the other realm, and able to see him. It's one thing if she went and she didn't see him, then it's like, hey, you're chasing ghosts. But she did see him. Could she pull him out? Could she do this? Could she change it? That would be a first on the show. Because we've seen people die and we've seen those type of things happen, but we haven't seen them come back in any way. There is besides, the demon one that Fatima just gave birth to. Yeah, but I think that would be interesting if that happened, if she was able to come up with some way. And then that would also explain the scene of the final scene that we saw in season 3. With her running out there trying to stop. So, like, let's say, all right, it's two things. Either she does make it able to change that time frame, or we actually do a full circle and we catch that time frame where we see her running and trying to. And it's like, you can't change the present. You know what I mean? It's like what happens. She tried and it didn't work. But I think it would be cool if it did. It would definitely throw a twist in all of this, but then again, it could open up a door that you don't want to open, because then what if Sarah says, well, can I go through there and see if I can save my brother? And then can I go through there? Can I get my mom from going into the barn out there? Remember when she was doing all the cattle and stuff, and that's how they grabbed her? It could cause problems if they keep going in that direction. But at least for the gym, and then maybe they figure out, I don't know, if the ruins get destroyed, and then that's it. Oh, I did it. And then the ruins get destroyed, and that's why no one else could try to do it. But hey, you bring Jim back. I don't want him to die. He's one of the few characters I really liked. Yeah, he's an OG. He's one of my long-haired brothers. As you know, I have very long hair. I like seeing somebody with other long hair on TV. Yeah, so it's the simple things, people. This is how I connect to characters, and I don't want him. I don't want him to die. Not like this. It was very. It just didn't feel right. It was sudden, and then even remember when they cut from the camera angle after his throat was ripped out, he was gone. The body disappeared.
Oh yeah.
So remember, so it made it seem like that wasn't real. That it didn't really happen. And that's why I'm still not. And I don't know. Put in the comments, people, if you made it this far. Do you think Jim is really dead? Or is he going to come back? Is Julie going to be able to pull him back from the other realm, the dark side, or whatever you want to call it? Because at this point, that's all I care about. Do I ever think they're going to get out of Fromville over here? No, I do not. I do not. I could see them all dying or going to another version in which they think they escaped, and really they're just in another virtual fake world. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a cabin in the woods type of situation. If you saw that movie, if they throw in another curveball with us, and it's like, again, this show likes doing that. They put us on one path and then they divert. So yes, we're all saying, oh, it's the past life, the kids, the people that in the town made this pact with the demon, whatever, to live forever. And it's okay, we could go down that, but then that doesn't explain a lot of other things that are happening with the town. The fact that there is a motel and all this stuff, and the timing. So you're gonna, there's people there long enough from the times when there was cabins during the Civil War era, right? That they could stay there. It's like, all right, we're going to build a pool here and we're going to do all this other stuff and then make a diner. No, what I mean? It just, there's got to be more to it. There's got to be more to it. And maybe even the show creators don't even know right now. The writers aren't too sure. Wouldn't be surprised. Maybe they don't know the end game yet, but hey, we will see. We will see. We don't know yet as of this recording if there's a season 5, but I feel like if it's getting long in the tooth. We see a lot of shows once they, especially now. Back in the day, you could have 12, 13, 14, 15 seasons. We know we cover The Walking Dead over on the main channel, over at the Koalition. I am Negan. If you're in The Walking Dead, Rich, Carlos, we cover that. We've been covering it for at least 25 years. We cover all the spin-offs. All of it. We talk about it. We spend hours on this, right? No, this gotta. I don't think we've seen a lot of shows in modern era. They're shorter. They're only like 10 episode seasons, right? And then also the seasons, usually the series ends in like season 4 or 5. They don't go too long. So I could see this, if this is the end, we get some kind of conclusion toward the end of this season. But who knows? Apparently it's a big hit. It's very big on MGM Plus. It's the biggest show. Surprise, surprise, because I don't know many other shows on MGM Plus that people are watching. So, right? All I ever hear is from there. So
I know one.
Yeah, which one?
Godfather of Harlem.
Now you're making up stuff. All right, listen. No more making up shows. Okay, don't make up shows. That's a show, really? Godfather.
Oh yeah. Forrest Whitaker. That show is
Forrest Whitaker. Holy shoot!
Yeah.
Was it Ghost Ninja? What was his name? Remember that movie? Ghost.
Oh yeah.
Oh man! Also in the Crying Game. Remember that? That was a thing. The Crying Game. All right. Anyway, thank you, people, for sticking with us through this. Like, subscribe, share, come back, check out the other shows that we cover. If you don't hear me, you can hear Rich. Rich was with us for Mary Kingstown. We had a good time with that one. That's also coming back for final season, and that's a short one though. Only 8. They say short. It was 10 episodes. Now it's 8. Really? Is that short? That's not really that short. That's just 2 episodes. All right, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Peace.